What makes the car scene so unsettling is that Perrin never confronts Mon. The conversation unfolds like a courteous exchange between equals, yet every line quietly removes one of Mon's assumptions about where power resides. She enters the car believing she has compartmentalized her life successfully: public politics, private marriage, discreet rebellion. By the time the car changes route, that structure has collapsed without a single argument taking place, and she's realizing she's not as careful as she thought, and at greater risk than she realized. Perrin's opening move is deceptively mild. He doesn't accuse Mon, he simply notes that someone else seems to know more than he does. This reframes the issue from ideology to intimacy. Perrin treats knowledge like access. By pointing out who already has it, he turns Mon's careful silence into something social rather than strategic. Someone else has keys to his home. He's making it about trust in a marriage. Once the problem is framed that way, secrecy stops looking necessary and starts looking insulting. Mon is clearly surprised, though she hides it well, to hear that he knows, and while her barbed response about charity is quick and surprisingly savage, the deflection doesn't work. Mon's jokes and moral justifications are attempts to close a door that Perrin has already walked through. The scene pivots on the driver. Perrin asks Mon for the name even though he knows it, and even though she knows he knows it. It's a basic demonstration of power. By asking, he makes Mon participate in the move. She has to supply the name that will immediately be used to redirect the car. Perrin is forcing alignment. The action that follows only works cleanly if Mon has just said the name herself. It turns his intervention from something he does to her into something that appears to flow through her. Quick note on Kloris. While Perrin is sympathetic to the Empire and Kloris is an Imperial spy, the two are not in cahoots. But something about him or the way he was inserted into the household has raised Perrin's suspicion and interest. Mon's surprise at breakfast was because Perrin never remembers the staff's names. They're furniture. But Kloris is more than that. He's a variable which holds power, so Perrin has already filed that for when it's most useful. When Perrin hits the button and asks for Kloris, the conversation stops being about knowledge and becomes about reach. Perrin demonstrates that Mon's operational world is not separate from her domestic one. It is threaded through it. He is threaded through it. The system recognizes Perrin without friction. Mon's authority, by contrast, never even enters the exchange. The request to take the expressway is the scene's quiet climax. Perrin does not confront further or demand an explanation. He just changes the route. It's the perfect expression of his soft power, indirect, comfortable, and socially sanctioned. He inserts himself into the flow of Mon's life not as an obstacle but as an administrator. From this point on, Mon can no longer assume that privacy equals safety or that she has much of either. Even movement itself is negotiable. What the scene ultimately reveals is that Perrin is not Mon's antagonist in the conventional sense. He doesn't oppose her beliefs. He neutralizes them by rendering them legible, manageable, and contained. The only thing he needs to do is ensure that nothing she does ever truly escapes the world they share. Taken together, these two Mon Mothma scenes describe a pattern of containment. The domestic scene shows authority dissolving through non-intervention. The car scene shows it being redirected through calm procedural control. Looked at separately, they read as awkward family tension and marital unease. Looked at together, they describe a system learning how best to neutralize her. In the home, Mon is still trying to operate as if shared authority exists. She plans, schedules, assumes alignment. What defeats her there is refusal, Lada's flat refusal, and Perrin's decision to remain off the court, to watch rather than join. The car scene reveals what that withdrawal enables. Perrin has not opposed Mon's values or her actions, he has simply allowed them to become manageable. The boundaries she relied upon between politics and marriage, between public and private, between her work and her home, are shown to be porous, and Perrin demonstrates that fact without ever naming it. He just shows that knowledge circulates, that routes can be changed, that nothing she does is fully insulated from the life they share. What's new, seen across both scenes, is that Mon's problem is proximity. Her enemies don't need to confront her, they only need to stay close, comfortable, and attentive. In the home, Perrin's withdrawal leaves her exposed. In the car, his engagement leaves her contained. Together they describe a world in which Mon's moral seriousness is quietly rendered inconvenient. That's why these scenes feel so suffocating despite how calm they are. No one is shouting at Mon or stopping her outright. Instead, she's surrounded by people who are comfortable, reasonable, and in no hurry to act on things she cares about. Seen as a mini-arc, these scenes establish the real danger Mon faces going forward. It's the slow discovery that the systems closest to her, family, marriage, comfort, are perfectly adapted to absorb dissent without ever needing to confront it. Mon loses ground because the world around her has learned how to make struggles like hers invisible. High society is always well versed in quietly choking out dissent. As her scenes in the Axe Forgets end, the car keeps moving, the city lights drift past, and Mon, who couldn't storm out for once, does so mentally instead. She sits in silence, realizing that the most dangerous form of surveillance is the kind that feels like marriage.